poverty or coming from humble beginnings or anything of that sort, but I've just always been one step behind in so many different. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Nika Jam, and I'm back with another video. Now, for today's video, as you can tell by my title, I'll just be talking about a topic, a hot topic, as you would, about something that is just so important to me, and I think it's something that happens to just about anyone, and that is the whole idea of not fitting in and feeling quote unquote odd or like an alien. No disclaimer, I know that if, and I highly seriously doubt it, that any of my friends or close family members would watch, they would probably be like, you not fitting in, you feeling odd, you feeling weird, because oftentimes we go through our moments and we go through these moments in our lives, and even some of the closest persons to us, they don't know how we feel, not necessarily because you don't say it, but because not everybody is observant or even aware of the type of emotions and feelings that you express or the things that you don't talk about. So yes, or perhaps people might know that you might feel a bit strange about a particular situation, but not everybody is willing to address it. And this is not really like some sad video, or this is not a video about blaming anybody for making a person feel any type of way, because in life I've realized that you are really 100%, I don't, well, not 100%, but you are oftentimes highly responsible for your happiness. Perhaps not 100%, because there's things that make people happy, but you have to be a happy person first and foremost, without depending on others to influence your happiness all the time, that is. So yes, so and as well, persons might even say, why are you presenting this out there? Well, this is really and truly, as I stated, for persons who have ever felt like this. It's just like a ray of hope. It's just a message to say that it gets better, it happens to the best of us, and really life goes on. So first and foremost, I just want to say that recently, in my life particularly, I've been going through a couple of changes that have really allowed me to assess and to just look at life differently, as we all do. Nothing's really special about that. But in the midst of going through the changes, I've been thrust into situations where I've been the new person, or I've been the person that can't relate to others around me. And as a result, I've really gone through stages where I've been isolated and just feeling like, what am I really doing here? And I just want to say as well that whereas now, in most of the situations that I'm describing, I'm okay now. I just really thought to myself, like, if I feel like this, and this is not the first that I felt like this, like, is there something wrong? Is there like an underlying issue? Why do we as human beings like have to go through phases in our life where we feel as if we're not apart, and why is it so important for us to feel like we have to belong somewhere, and we have to be around a group of people in order to know ourselves and to basically have an identity? And I'm not saying per se that it's because of people that you quote unquote get through life, because anybody that knows me particularly, because I started off addressing the story from my point of view, I can be a loner, but at the same time, is if you give me like 6 months, a year, I can mold into any situation. I can be amongst anybody. Like, I have friends from all walks of life, all spheres of, what am I saying, all spheres of, but all walks of life, multiple different personalities. I can mesh with just about anybody. So it's not even necessarily about friendships or relationships, but it's feeling as if you can identify with the type of friendships and what it is that they stand for, as well as adapt. How well can you adapt to an environment without really and truly losing yourself? So I just want to add as well that I am a Christian, and I'm at a point in my life where I really want to get to a level in my faith. Like, I've been through something traumatic, like multiple traumatizing events in all honesty, but nonetheless, I've overcome, and I'm really just realigning myself, my faith journey, like really getting back to God. But I'm saying this because me saying that I feel odd even in certain settings like church, even with friends and all of that, it's not as a result of me being quote unquote lukewarm, because I know oftentimes people are like, oh, you don't fit in, that's because you're doing, like, no, it's never been like that. Of course, I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I don't have my moments, but I would rather pull away than to quote unquote play church. So it's not a matter of being lukewarm, but it's more so feeling as if, because I didn't grow up in church. It's more so feeling as if, when you're in church, because you have experiences out in the world, you don't really have that relatability. But at the same time, when you're in the world, you know that there's more to life. So where do you go? So kind of, it's really that kind of point that I was at. But I'm just coming to the conclusion to say that with all of that, things will always get better. Like, you will never 100% meet, and this might sound a bit pessimistic, but you'll never 100% meet your yang. And I say yang because, like, yin and yang, differences, and you come together are just really and truly just two separate entities who have so much things, two separate entities, but they might have similarities. You might never meet that other side of yourself, but it doesn't mean that you will always feel as if, say, it doesn't mean that you will always feel as if you have nowhere to go. It doesn't mean that you will always be in a situation where um, you feel overlooked or overwhelmed and just not important, because I've realized, it's sad to say, that oftentimes in this life, the important people, the people that feel as if they're on top of the world, are the persons that somebody would take their jacket off for and just give them just about anything. Even them themselves aren't always like at the top of their game. They aren't always feeling as if this is their set of people or this is their crowd. So for you, like for myself, like I've never in any of my earlier days, like I've never really felt as if I belong to a specific set of people. I've always been weird, like I've always been odd. And I mean weird and odd, like I've never had the latest this, I've never had the latest that. And it's more than just about poverty or coming from humble beginnings or anything of that sort. But I've just always been one step behind in so many different situations. And I've always said to myself, why is the spotlight on me? Like, why is it that there's always something new? Like, I'll be in a group of people, and I'll be amongst a group of people, sorry, and like everybody, just let me just see something. Everybody's tall and I'm there being short, and nothing's wrong being different. But I'm just trying to say how oftentimes people notice that difference about you, and it can either be good or it can either be bad. It can be a case where they're like, oh, you go girl, shorty, let's treat you special. Or it could be a case where they're asking you questions like, why are you like this, so and so. And as a result, you might go through life experiencing similar situations where you're at work, situations where you're at church, you're at school, and you're just always feeling as if you have to put on a face, or you have to basically get into a personality in order to settle there for a moment, and when you go back, it's just you. And this, I guess, this is also coming from a place that I've realized that relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, all of that is just really so hard to find, genuineness. Like, it's so hard to find genuine people because you will be going through the worst of storms, and all of these people that you've accumulated throughout your life, you just never see them. And I know that that might sound a bit stereotypical and negative even, but that's just the reality. And this just all ties in to say that really your happiness cannot come from people, and your happiness cannot come from ever feeling as if you want to be that missing cube, or that missing cube out of, those square, those no, those shape sets, or even that missing puzzle piece out of the bigger piece of the puzzle. Like, it can't come from that, because I've just realized that feeling of isolation, it can be that, of course, God has a purpose for you. God always has a purpose for us. It's really up to us to find it, to seek Him, to really build a relationship with Him, to know what it is that He wants us to do. And it can be that it's also a lesson. Like, oftentimes when you are in a particular setting, like you might be in a job, for example, you're like, why am I at this job, and just going through emotions, like, I don't feel like everybody else, I'm not excited like everybody else. It could be that really ultimately that is just not for you. It could have all the benefits, the best benefits, and the best co-workers in the world, but it could just be that that is not for you. Even like in one of the biggest things I've realized in church, you might be at a particular level, like you're just going to church every single day of your life, and you're like, there's still something missing. I do all that I'm supposed to do, I have a relationship with God, but perhaps God wants to elevate you to a next level. Perhaps He has something for you to do, but you're just not walking your purpose. And I can attest to that. Anytime that I'm sad, anytime I'm feeling like extremely overwhelmed and feeling as if I can't, I honestly feel as if it's because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm not walking in my purpose. I'm not living the way how I ought to live, and that's with the full fear and full authority and fearfulness of the Lord. And that's just my confession right there. But yes, I just wanted to say that eventually, once it is that you come to the place that God wants you to come to, and once it is that you've realized that there is just so much more to life, like life is just so much more about just going through motions and going through routines and feeling as if, oh my God, I need to be in the latest club, and I don't mean like party clubs. I need to be in the latest club amongst the latest set of people in order to feel as if I'm somebody. Like, no, there's a bigger picture, and I just hope that you eventually find the bigger picture, because I get it. I really do. And I'm still not like a motivational speaker, but this is just something that I wanted to speak about, because as my segment says, it's Talk Up Wednesdays, where I talk about things that just need to be aired, like really that just need to be out there. And with that being said, like, I've realized that not everybody is going to have like 10, 15 friends around them who genuinely would go to war with them. And that is not to say that you have only bad people around you, and that is not to say that you'll never meet somebody that you can really look to and be like, thank you for all that you have done. But it just goes to say that in life, as you grow older, like, you have to find your own individuality, as well as you have to learn how to appreciate that persons, like, they can add to your character and they can create a whole difference in your life. But with all of that, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be at the forefront of your life. It does not mean that, okay, then, because you're at work and everybody, what should I say? It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that because you and everybody are, let's say, at the same school, and not school, let's say everybody's in the same department and everybody is excited about doing this particular career, and then there's you're just doing it because you know that it can be beneficial, but it's not your ultimate goal. Like, don't feel bad about that. Do not feel bad about that. That's just your journey. I've realized that not because you're in certain settings and not because you feel as if, say, oh, I'm the only one thinking like this, it means that you're the weirdest of the weird. Like, it does not mean that you are so Like, it doesn't mean that you have to be burdened by the fact that you think differently and that you want differently, and ultimately your future is going to be different, because that's just how life is. But I just want persons to just own hone their individuality and their uniqueness, and realize that you might not get invited to all of the events and all. You might not feel as if you're even worth it to go to these events and all of that, because trust me, I've been there. I've always felt like, I don't want to say I've always felt like I'm the type of person that people would not invite, because that would be so true. I've gotten so many invitations in my lifetime, but at the same time, I know what it's like to be quote unquote second best. Somebody cancels and you're like, oh, you should come, and nobody likes that. It's almost like you're saying, you're the next best thing, which is not good. But what I'm trying to say is that ultimately, even if you don't get that invite, even if you're not there when everybody else is going out somewhere on their birthday, it does not mean, what a popular girl, I should say, what a popular girl, or that, that amazing coworker invites everybody else, and people, me, when I'm being direct. Me using those illustrations, that did not happen to me. I'm just saying. So if that happens to you, it does not mean that you are the worst. It does not mean that you don't deserve much. It just means that you have a different walk, you have a different life to live, and you have a different journey. And I ultimately wholeheartedly believe that the day you start to walk in your purpose, it won't necessarily eliminate your feelings. It won't necessarily take away yearnings for certain things, but it will definitely cause you to look at the bigger and the better picture, and that is so what I'm doing right now. So to all the people, to all the females, to all the males out there like me, like myself, who have felt odd and felt like the odd person, oh, just remember, there is a bigger picture for you.